Welcome back to another special version of the Striped Sweater Podcast, where the best time to listen is all the time. I'm one half of your co-hosts, Texas, Zach Main.
Wow, great name, pal.
Yeah, it took me forever to think of that.
Because I was going to say that I'll always be a Texas girl. I'm Alex Beardsley. And
we're here with a couple other Texas girls.
It's a party today for you, the listener.
I'm no longer a rookie. This is Jake Dent joining for the second time.
Yeah.
And I am Trevor Patrick, blew up in a mushroom cloud already.
Exciting. So Trevor has been mine and Jake's friend for a long time. You guys met each other before me, obviously, right?
Yeah, I've known Jake since I was like 15.
Yeah, I think we met each other like sophomore year or something like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then I met them. It was pretty much right after high school, really. We didn't really do much during high school.
I didn't know you in high school.
It was right after I graduated, because I graduated 2 years after you, so.
Yeah. So Jake did tell us a little bit about himself on the last one. So maybe talk about your history with SpongeBob, Trevor.
I remember SpongeBob being like the first cartoon that I watched that wasn't on Disney Channel, and I remember having to like ask my mom to watch it because it was a little edgier than like your traditional like Recess was my favorite TV show.
Recess was good though.
Yes.
Okay.
So I had to ask my mom to watch SpongeBob, and then that got me into like I don't know, like a whole myriad of Nickelodeon television.
Good word choice.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, see, for me, like I started out with Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. I always had access to every cartoon basically. As far as I can remember. But that's interesting, and I like that. And that's funny because Stacy said a similar thing about her parents hated SpongeBob or whatever. And it's like I think that was kind of a common thing. I know my parents too always used to say it's like they're just so dumb. Like why, why is it funny to you? And it's like I don't know, but really they just weren't aware that it is a funny and smart show in its own right. And it is dumb sometimes, but that's the beauty of it, right?
It's definitely something that's like held up, especially like when you're older. You like catch so much other like intricacies of it.
It's great.
I felt like Disney Channel's shows back then though. I didn't like them. Like during this time, I didn't. I mean, what was on there?
What else was there besides Recess?
Because the Proud Family.
Well, there was
Doug was Nickelodeon.
See, Proud Family was a big one for me.
Doug was Nickelodeon originally, but it did go to Disney Channel in 2001, I think.
Trevor is like 2 years younger than us.
Yeah.
If I remember right, wasn't the Doug on Disney Channel like very poorly received though?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, in comparison to the Nickelodeon version, it was.
But it was,
and I never watched it on Disney Channel that I can remember.
It was a new continuation of the show.
Disney picked it up and continued it.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 seasons.
Something like that. And then I think they made the movie. Disney did. I might be wrong though.
So my family had this like weird like thing with Disney. I've been to Disney World 9 times before my parents got divorced, and that was like when I was 11. Yeah. So they just like always. Like
every year.
It was like you had to watch Disney, and then like we go to Disney twice a year.
Damn.
In May and October.
That's dope, though. I've been to Disney, I mean, probably about 5 times in my life, so that's pretty good. I mean, I love Disney. Disney, as much as it is like a conglomerate now and it owns everything, like, it's always been a part of my life in one way or another. And it has been for our parents and their parents pretty much for the most part. It's been the go-to animation place and like family friendly entertainment for so long.
But I will say that Nickelodeon shows, like no matter what Disney did, Nickelodeon shows stuck with me longer. Like I feel like even now, like if I want nostalgia, I'll watch like Hey Arnold or SpongeBob instead of like anything I used to watch on Disney.
Sure. Yeah For me, I mean it's all Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. That's like the most nostalgic stuff.
Yeah, and if I had to choose, back then I was more of a Cartoon Network. Like that would be on more.
Yeah.
The early days when it would be like Cow and Chicken, Obviously, Dragon Ball Z.
Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, Johnny Bravo.
For me, it was mostly Dexter and Powerpuff Girls on Cartoon Network. And then, I mean, once SpongeBob came out, though, it was like, I mean, I was a big Rugrats guy as well. And
yeah, me too.
I liked Doug a lot, too. So I don't know. I feel like I've always been a Nickelodeon guy, but, and I definitely stopped watching Cartoon Network way before I stopped watching Nickelodeon. Cause I remember, I mean, I might get some heat from this from you guys, but like, I didn't care for Foster's Home. I didn't care for any of that stuff at that point. It was like, I just wasn't on that train. I just didn't like it. And, but I liked
Foster's,
but I liked, Teenage Robot, and I liked, other things at that time. But yeah, good times here with a full crew.
This is obviously the most people we've had on the podcast at once.
Yeah, and it's great to have a returning guest. So, he has some rapport with our listeners. Wow, that was really hard for me to say that word.
Yeah, and even better, this is like, these 2 episodes are both super memorable and very, very good.
I would even say they're iconic.
I hate the overuse of that word, but I will allow it because I think you're right.
The stepping on the beach, like that, whole song, like I do that all the time.
Both of these, I will say, because I think people use that word way too much. Like for something to be an icon, it has to be pretty serious. But I would say that fits with these. They're both great, and they both have memorable, fun stuff going on, So what do we say? Should we get to it?
Yeah. I guess we can just get right to it.
Cool, y'all. Are you ready?
Aye, Alex. You go to the bathroom in the medicine cabinet, you get a Viagra, and then you go sleep.
Okay. And we're back. So we have Texas.
This episode aired March 22nd of the year 2000. So we are back on weekly new episodes every week. It was 11 minutes long. Storyboard director was Sherm Cohen. Storyboard artist Vincent Waller, who is from Texas. So that's kind of funny. Written by them too, along with David Fain. Animation director Sean Dempsey. Creative director
Derek Dryman.
Yeah. Great job.
Is there anything particular you know about this man? Just a Jamaican man who
Dryman.
Yeah,
oh, I get it. That's funny.
Dryman. Yeah, we're funny.
It was
guys.
real funny 17 weeks ago.
Yeah, right. It was hilarious the first time.
Yeah.
It's funny though. I noticed this was the exact same team minus one writer that did ARG, one of the last episodes we did, which was a great episode. So it's like, dude, this one's gonna be good.
This team right here is crushing it.
This team is crushing it. We also have a special musical appearance by Junior Brown, which I didn't even do any research. He's an old country guy. You can, if you really want to, look him up yourself.
What a great name.
You think he's still alive, Junior Brown?
Well, gonna have to look it up now that you bring it up. Yeah. Okay, he's not that old. He was born in 1952, so he's like my parents' age.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, he's still with us, and it's cool. He actually has a double neck guitar that the top neck is a regular guitar and the bottom neck's a steel guitar.
That's
actually cool as hell.
Very impressive.
Yeah. So, Junior Brown's still with us. Thank goodness. So we open to a shot of
SpongeBob's
pineapple, or is it?
It's sand.
It's made out of sand.
It looks like it's made of sand.
I know this is pretty deep, but I liked the way they draw the sand is cool. It's got like paint splatters on it of different colors.
Yeah.
It's like a really simple way of doing it, but it actually looks good. There's no question that it's sand, It's like, you're like, oh, it's sand,
Yeah.
Very cool. SpongeBob's hand appears,
and he has transmogged his face onto his hand. Him and Patrick. It's really impressive.
So he has like his eyes and his mouth are on his hand, and he has 4 fingers. So it looks like he has like 2 feet and 2 arms because his fingers are so spread apart.
Right. Yeah, I know. I was like, that's kind of a weird. I guess it works, right? But one of those is a thumb. It makes it look like he has 2 thumbs.
Right.
But he walks over to Patrick's rock, which is also made of sand, and that's when Patrick appears. And
it even has the little antenna made of sand.
Yeah. They're very elaborate, detailed little sand creations that the boys have made.
It must be easy to pack sand when it's already underwater.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess so, yeah.
So SpongeBob's talking, and then Patrick says, "Hi, SpongeBob," and his hand comes down. So obviously it's just, I don't know, like a soft, nubby hand that he has.
Yeah.
And it's got his face on it, and he's like bouncing.
Yeah.
You know, because they're like bouncing it like they're playing in a dollhouse or something.
Sure. I mean, well, they're playing. So they walk over to Sandy's place. Or so we think, but it just looks like a mountain or something. And then he's like, and we get a wide shot to reveal that we are at Goo Lagoon. Sandy is standing behind a large mound of sand and tells the boys not to lose their barnacles. And she chops this sand in half to reveal a map of Texas, so to speak.
Right, like the shape of Texas.
The state of the U.S. And I don't know. I mean, there's 8% of our listeners are in the U.K. So shout out to you all. We can see you.
Yeah.
And if you don't know about Texas, that's what it looks like.
That's like just some guy named like Roger or something that listens to the show and
yeah,
in the UK.
One guy who listens to it obsessively.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting too. Some of the places where we get like, just one listener.
There's been a couple listens in like Ukraine and Greece, and it's weird. It's cool that it tracks all that though.
So we have 9% UK, 1% Australia, 1% Canada, and then we have -1% Greece, Ireland, and Ukraine.
Well, they delete the podcast when it gets on their internet. Like, we hate this.
Oh, fuck.
They only downloaded it so that they could destroy it. So now that's, I think at this point she did mention that she was from Texas in the first episode, right? Tea at the Tree Dome. Like, this is common knowledge. I
believe so. I can't remember for sure, but we do know that she's not from underwater. She traveled from land. She's
always had a southern twang.
She's got a southern twang.
Bit of spice.
That's correct. So anyway, the boys are looking at this Texas shaped sand mound, and they're like, "What the heck is this?" She's like, "It's Texas." And SpongeBob, being this silly boy who doesn't know anything about land that he says, "What's a Texas?" And at that point, waves, like the tide rises or what have you, and waves wash away this creation that Sandy has made, and it bums her out. And she says, "Nothing but a memory now." And then the boys, oblivious that she is like not super happy right now, are like, "Well, hey, let's make the tree dome,"
Yeah,
and
they just blow it off like it was
right.
nothing.
They're trying to make it. Yeah, they don't think anything of it.
Yeah. Okay, good. Your thing's done. Now let's make one of your tree domes so we can keep playing. You guys ever make sandcastles and play in them?
Yeah, I tried to make a sandcastle in my day, but I was never very good at it. So
it's all
about the bucket. Am I right?
I'm not creative. Like mine would just be like,
mine would always just be like the straight up circle. Like maybe I'd get real big and
I
did
buy one of the buckets that like set it for you, Or
yeah.
It was more of a mold.
Right.
Yeah.
I made a moat one time. That was
Yeah, I do.
That's
I've done
stuff.
that before too. I remember I've never spent enough time on the beach, to like get good at it. I don't think any of us have living here in Taylor, Michigan.
When I made stuff like that, it was usually in like a sandbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I wasn't allowed to go in the sandbox because my mom said the stray cats would poop in it, so I never got to experience that.
They probably would.
Yeah.
But that's funny. I never really thought about that. Anyway,
think about it. It's like a sandbox video game. You can do anything in it.
So Sandy starts to walk away, all bummed out, and SpongeBob tries to cheer her up with some karate moves. You know, hiya, whatever, Kia.
And then she's kind of
she's not feeling it. SpongeBob thinks that that's a ruse, though.
Right, he's like, "Oh, okay, Sandy, I get it. Not up for karate, huh?" And he turns around on purpose, and she keeps walking away.
And Don the Whale happens to walk up to SpongeBob, and SpongeBob fucking power bombs him.
Yeah, he says,
That's
I
impressive.
hope he doesn't attack me from behind. And then he reaches over his back and just grabs him and slams him down in front of him.
I mean,
just to be able to do that.
For as weak as we are to think that SpongeBob is, he would have to be strong as shit to reach behind and use all shoulders to lift a fucking whale up over his head
and slam him into the ground.
God damn.
I mean, that's the thing they do a lot here, though, is like it seems like SpongeBob's always as strong as he needs to be for a given situation.
That is correct.
Like they always make a joke that he's weak, but he's always strong enough to do whatever he needs to do.
Plus, that's true.
Sounds like Goku.
Plus the weak
SpongeBob is Goku, confirmed.
The weak like SpongeBob episode where he's his weakest. I feel like I didn't realize it was so early in the SpongeBob lore. It's like he definitely could have been working out.
Right. The weak jokes are mostly in the very first 10, 11, 12 episodes. And then after that it's kind of not touched on as much.
I can't really think of him doing it.
Yeah. We already did muscle arms, and then in the very first episode, he lifts the thing, and then in Ripped Pants, he lifts the thing. Those are the first 2 episodes.
Okay. Isn't there a thing where he lifts and his arms rip off, and his arms are still holding on?
That's in the first episode, right?
No, I do recall that, but I don't know what that's from. I do, no, I definitely remember that. I remember that gag from somewhere. I don't know if we've seen that yet, though, where he lifts and his arms stay on, and then he's like...
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Or are we thinking of the tree dome thing,
where his hand
falls off?
Because, I was thinking there's the marshmallow, and he falls to the side.
No, I completely remember what he did. It's like a deadlift.
I know, I remember that, too. I can't think of it. Whatever. Well, whatever. So, anyway, it's Don the Whale that he power bombs, and Don... not very happy with SpongeBob, growls at him and then gives him a good bop, Yeah. And SpongeBob is sent flying far enough that he catches up with Sandy.
Right, doesn't even mention anything about just being punched in the face and thrown, no sorries or anything for Don either. He's just all worried about Sandy.
Yeah, right.
So he's trying to get her to play. He says, "Surf's up, Sandy." He's got his... board with him.
We transition into Jellyfish Fields, which apparently is right next to Goo Lagoon, and
boy, there's nothing like going jellyfishing.
We get a classic gag that I remember vividly of Patrick just giggling and then tripping over nothing and then getting back up.
Yeah.
It's just a fun little thing.
Look, Sandy, we caught one.
Listen, SpongeBob, right now, I don't want to build sandcastles, play karate, or eat jellyfish.
Which is funny because Plankton also thought that they eat jellyfish when they catch them.
Fly away, little critter.
Go on, go back home where you belong. Run along, back to your family and friends. I know they miss you as much as you miss them. Hurry, before they forget you and leave you behind. Remember, there's no place like home.
Yeah, SpongeBob really lays it on thick, like the you need to go where you belong, type thing.
But he's so oblivious to that this is the reason Sandy is down, and this definitely is not helping at all. It's very counterproductive.
Clearly, because Sandy starts crying, bawling, and crying so much
like
that
Jim Jones.
Yeah, crying so much that her darn helmet fills up with tears.
And then one of the best gags from this episode is her like attaching the thing to her helmet and then like flushing the water out.
It's like a toilet handle.
Yeah, she like pulls it out from her pocket or whatever and just puts it on.
I feel like
and
it's
then
actually called
it.
a plunger.
I just love that this is something that must happen pretty regularly.
Yeah, she's prepared for it.
She has this just in her back pocket ready to go.
Plus, where does the water go?
Yeah.
Flushes out somehow, but
yeah, it goes down into like where her body is, but we don't see like it pop out anywhere.
She just has wet socks. It just goes down to her feet.
Yeah, just her socks just absorb it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a good it's a good gag, even though it's a sad moment for Sandy.
And at that point, finally the guys realize, like, whoa, like, are you upset? What are you crying for? Like,
yeah, he says, "What the heck are you crying about?"
And she says, "I ain't crying. My helmet just sprung a leak." Because she's a tough broad. Are we allowed to say that? Is broad okay?
She's a very strong woman.
Strong woman.
She's an independent variable.
Yes,
for sure.
No, there's a pro wrestler who's like the toughest broad in pro wrestling. That's why I said it. Or something along those lines. I don't call them broads, guys. Don't look at me like that.
Yeah, that's...
This dame, she's one sporty dame.
So, has anyone ever picked up on the fact that like Sandy's like an expert in karate and she's in the sea? Like she's got to be in like witness protection or something. She's
a scientist.
That's a backstory, man.
Yeah, no, she does. I mean, who knows what she did?
Because she's like really visibly upset. Why would she just move to the ocean?
That is a good, and also right. I mean, the fact that she's a scientist, she's a karate master. Yeah. She it's like she can play the guitar. It's like she's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Except
true Renaissance woman.
Yeah.
Except her pride is her downfall. That's what we determined. She's pretty much a super person, like a character.
She has brains and brawn. It's like, how do you she's the best. Nothing can stop her.
Well, is this like, has she been introduced as like a recurring character at this point, or is this like a first or second?
She's been in several episodes at this point. Yeah, I mean, maybe not, probably about 5 or 6 episodes. I would say.
Even in some as like a small role, even like the talent show one.
Right. Yeah, she's in some just as a background character sometimes. So.
Oh, and then this is the episode where we kind of had to second guess ourselves about if she actually always has a flower on her helmet.
Yeah.
I remembered from like coloring books and things that she had a flower on her helmet at some point, but us watching it now, I didn't realize if it was a thing that happened and then it was like that from now on or from the very beginning.
Yeah, we had to check it, and it is. It's there from her very first appearance. So she's always got that flower, She's trying to be festive, So
SpongeBob is like, Sandy? And she's finally, like, she'll tell him what's wrong. Like, oh, I guess I'm just feeling a little homesick. And SpongeBob, being the great friend that he is, hatches an idea. Homesick, huh? And then the next thing you see, Sandy is blindfolded by a blindfold that's going around the helmet part of her.
Right. And he's pushing her along the sand. And, it's like, oh, boy, like, there's a big surprise for you, Sandy.
Almost there.
Almost there. And then they get there, and what is it?
The tree dome.
They just take her to the tree dome.
It's funny.
Her house.
It's funny, too, though. She says, heck gummit, SpongeBob, what is it?
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of more evidence of her country gumption.
And she's like visibly upset too, like with them when she gets there, and she like puts the steel over her thing. And, like,
right. She tells them to leave him alone, and she goes in, and she shuts everybody out basically, which is funny. We notice because the next thing she does. Well, first of all, SpongeBob and Patrick still don't understand what's going on, and SpongeBob lets us know that. He says, "What's wrong with her?" And Patrick says, "Maybe it's a squirrel thing," which is funny because I think it's like a joke on like maybe it's a girl thing kind of thing,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or it's just they don't understand squirrels.
Yeah, one or the other. I don't know. That's what it felt like to me. That being said, the next thing Sandy does is she rides a lift up to the top of the tree dome, which is still all shut off by steel, and starts to sing.
Wish I was back in Texas. The ocean's no place
This song
for
is,
words.
done by Junior Brown. Obviously, SpongeBob people wrote the lyrics and all that, but he provided the music, and Sandy plays us this little country ditty on her 3-string guitar, which
So I noticed that too. A weird design choice. I feel like when you're drawing that out.
it's funny because the only other time we've seen a stringed instrument was the bassinet, and that was also had 3 strings. And
he also played the sand guitar during.
oh, I guess he did. I think that one had 4 strings though.
Hey, Patrick, listen to that.
Get him off me! Get him off me!
Patrick, listen, hear that? It's Sandy.
I wanna wake up in Texas. I miss those wide open skies. I miss my 20 acres, barbecues and pecan pies. Oh, why? When I'm so far from you, Texas, all I can do is cry.
Let's see.
Yeah, so
She
she's
sings her
singing,
song.
and the notes are coming off of her guitar, and then we see SpongeBob. It like goes through one side of his holes out the other, like as him hearing it. I guess.
and
then he's like, "Huh? What's that?" And then he's like, "Patrick, do you hear that?" And you see Patrick's like, "Get him off me!"
yeah,
And he's
the
got
notes
them-
are like swarmed around him.
They've constricted him.
I also
like,
wanted to say when she first starts singing, the backdrop changes and we see like countryside, horses, cows, but it's still just her up there singing. And then after the deal with Patrick, we see everyone within earshot starts crying because of this song. And Krabs is at the register sniffing money and then falls onto the register and it like shoots him back. There's customers inside the Krusty Krab drying their tears with their Krabby Patty, and the one guy hands it to his friend who blows his nose in it and then gives it back to him, which is just a fun thing.
Right, and then we're to assume that he's gonna eat it still.
Well, I mean, he looks at it like...
like he knows.
Yeah, he looked distraught, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I think my favorite part about this whole gag they're doing with everybody crying and everything is, like, the quick little flashes of, like, a real-world squirrel, like, sitting by a pecan pie.
Yeah, well, that's what comes next on this.
Right, yeah, and those are the best. Zach was cracking up, like, nonstop.
Because it's great. It's like... It's just a real picture of a squirrel, and it's like doing these things.
It's obviously like photoshopped or something, not really well, It's like a live action squirrel. Yeah, what is it? It's on the fence. It's got a cowboy hat on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like actually right before they go to the Krusty Krab part. She misses her 20 acres, which is just her standing in a
On the
field,
fence.
barbecues, which is like... It's just a picture of a squirrel with a cowboy hat on too, and it's like at a barbecue grill.
Yeah.
And then pecan pies too. It's like the squirrel and the pie
on the table, on the picnic table.
And then she says, "When I'm so far from you, Texas, all I can do is cry." And it's just the squirrel, and then they just make a tear appear and start going down.
It's great. The squirrel like comes up from underneath the camera too. It's like,
it's like that's the kind of good YouTube videos I used to like to watch in the day.
That's like one of the things that like SpongeBob does. Is like whenever they're doing something that's like out of water, it's just like real life, and I think that's like something subtle that's like really funny.
I think
it's like Sandy used to be the squirrel.
I think it's something that really sets the show apart from any other cartoon from the time. Like that, all the live action stuff that they do, because it happens in a lot of episodes where there'll be just, even if it's just a quick one shot. Like there's that one with the sea captain just fucking giving a thumbs up. It's like out of nowhere. It's like, okay.
We found out who that guy was too, right?
Isn't there one at some point where, like, I think it's Krabs, Sandy, and Sponge are up on the beach, and they're, like, literally just, like, little puppets on a stick, dancing across?
That's a good one.
That's when
we watched that one recently.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones we watched before the show, yeah.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's one of my favorites. But it's definitely the live action, the hand-painted paintings in the show, and then just the overall great animation style. I think that really sets it apart.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then I mean, unique characters who are well developed. It's all part of it. There was a lot of good going on in this show, and that's why we all remember it so fondly.
And then the reoccurring characters, like just like the people in the background that you're like, oh, it's
sure, yeah.
Like you guys are crazy. You like know their names and stuff.
Well, yeah, we kind of have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, because like Scooter, the surfing fish, that's Scooter.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Tom, the chocolate fish.
Yeah, Tom is
Fred,
the chocolate
my
fish.
leg,
Fred is the my leg fish.
Yeah, but
I don't know all of them. I know a few of them.
We're not here to quiz ourselves on which fish are which.
Yeah. Anyway,
but we'll do that after.
She retracts into the tree dome, and her song is over. Patrick,
and I said, it uses Junior Brown's voice at the
right.
end.
I wanna go home, home.
I wanna go home. Do you think she knows the Muffin Man song?
And then it's like Patrick obviously didn't get any emotional feeling out of that like he was supposed to.
Right. I mean, he's done. He's done crying, so he's like, "Hey, how about the Muffin Man song next?"
Yeah. And he's just like, "Oh, Sandy's really good at playing guitar."
So Patrick doesn't realize what's going on, but SpongeBob does, and he says that he's like, "We gotta, SpongeBob knows that they have to do something about this," and Patrick is like, "Hey, we could bring Texas down here,
He's like, no, we can't. That's it. So, first of all, I just want to say that Patrick is obviously, it's showing his more childish side, too. The Muffin Man, of all songs to choose, the man's in his 30s, we're to assume.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, SpongeBob immediately, when he's, like, talking to Patrick, like they are having a back and forth, but the second he brings something up, first he's like, no. He's just used to like, you're stupid, whatever you want, whatever your idea is, no. But then he's like, no, this will work.
And he says, Patrick, your genius is showing. And then Patrick, thinking he's talking about his wiener or something.
Or genius kind of sounds like penis.
Yeah, okay.
So
well, that's what I said, wiener.
Yeah, but I was just saying the word exactly that maybe they
Patrick, your penis is showing?
Yeah, because he crosses his like legs and
he
his
covers up
arms
his dick. Yeah, for sure.
Immediately, Patrick, your penis is showing.
Yeah.
Patrick penis. It's
Patrick
alliterative.
Piper picked a
pink penis.
Yeah, pink
from
penis.
Patrick Peterson.
So anyway, we cut to the Krusty Krab, and the boys have something arranged. We are outside the Krusty Krab, and they're saying, hey, we're going to go get her. We'll be right back.
And Krabs
from inside the restaurant, which we can't see, says, okay, hurry up. I can't squat like this forever. And so that's where we can assume it's some sort of a surprise party, but we don't know exactly what's going on in there.
Yeah, but they look giddy too. They're super excited for this.
And and then we cut to the tree dome, and they're playing leapfrog. They're leapfrogging over each other because they're so like happy and giddy about what's about to happen.
And they're clearing each other pretty well. They're taking some big hops.
He's doing like the I can't remember what it's called, but the roll where you roll and then kip up to your feet. There's a word for it. It's like some sort of lucha word. It's a Mexican word.
And they're talking out loud, too.
Krusty Krab! Krusty Krab! Sandy surprises at the Krusty Krab!
Wait till she sees that.
Don't spoil the surprise.
Hey,
Hey, Sandy! You want to come with us to the Krusty Krab?
Hey, SpongeBob. Hey, Patrick.
What are you doing with those bags?
I'm going back home to Texas.
What? Now? You can't. I mean,
It's time for this tumbleweed to tumble on home.
They cannot contain themselves with how much excitement they have for whatever is going on here. It's funny that he says, hey, Sandy, want to come to the Krusty Krab? It's like, bro, that place is nothing without you. You're like, you're leaving work to like, be like, hey, you want to come to my work and then I'll cook for us? And probably a bunch of other people.
What's funny about the way he says it, though, I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but he does it in the cadence of the song when he asked her to go to the Krusty Krab this time. Like, he's still like, Krusty Krab when he asked her, and it's just like a weird little thing.
Come with us to the Krusty Krab.
Yeah, right.
I didn't notice
the cadence
that.
from the song, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. She's like, oh, I'm sorry.
No, she's going back to Texas.
He's like, what are you doing with those? And she says, I'm going back to Texas. And I really like the animation on her eyes because her eyes shift to the side, and it lets us know that it's not an easy decision for her, but she's made up her mind.
And she also calls it home. She's going back home to Texas.
Right.
Specifically.
And I always liked that touch. Even as a kid, I remember that and being like, that's good,
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you can't go.
Yeah, he's like he sees the Krusty Krab, and then he sees her, and he's like, what? No, it's like
you are not going the right way.
Really, it's like his life is like falling apart. This is his best friend.
Right. Well,
and
one of them.
He's like, in one episode, he does say that he says that to a lot of people.
He says everyone who's his friend is his best friend. That is SpongeBob.
But he's like, no, and she says, it's time for this tumbleweed to tumble on home. She's about to take the Old Town Road back home.
Old Town Road. And he's like, you don't want to have one more Krabby Patty, have a little Krusty Krab? Like, he's like losing him. He's
right,
losing his mind.
Why don't we just go do this? Like, he's very frantic.
And then he's like, don't you want to say goodbye? And she's like, no, it'd be too sad. And she doesn't even say goodbye to them and just hops right on the bus.
Right, well, she says too, he says, don't you want to have one last Krabby Patty? So we're to assume she is able to eat Krabby Patties. I don't know if she takes them home.
Well, she says I'm tired of fish food.
Right, but obviously he wants her to eat them. I'm just saying she can't eat them at the restaurant, right? Because of her suit.
Wouldn't they just be soggy anyways?
Right?
Like, it would be
to
horrible
her,
for
right?
her. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why she's tired of fish food. And she considers these delicious hamburgers fish food because fish eat them. So I guess it is.
Well, they must be made out of fish, right? If they're meat.
Yeah.
I always assume they're made out of crabs.
Right? That was a conspiracy we've talked about.
There are multiple theories.
It could be
on
crab.
that.
It could be whale.
Squid even. Who knows?
Plankton.
Pearl's mother went somewhere, right?
Exactly. That's why he's getting her fat all the time.
That's what they say, right?
Because he's still like going off the meat that he got from killing his wife, who was huge.
Like a full-grown whale.
It's like lasted him this whole time, yeah.
I think Bikini Bottom.
So he fucked her, then killed her.
No, that would be. That should be like a Netflix documentary. Like, what was the Krabby Patty?
Yeah, right.
So she the bus does leave right away.
Yeah,
and he's just like, wow, I can't believe she's gone. Mm-hmm. It's like, damn, Sandy's just up and left like that.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't even get what's so great about dumb old Texas.
And the bus reverses back full speed, and she gets off immediately.
She's right at the door when the door opens, yeah.
Right, she's been listening.
And she's mad, yeah.
I love that the bus driver would, theoretically throw his whole route out. She's like, you got to turn this bus around.
Yeah.
I got to go talk to these
this
two
second.
now.
She's a karate master.
Yeah.
He had no choice.
And she's like, I don't even care about going home right now. I need to teach this punk not to talk trash about Texas first.
Yeah.
And
oddly enough, I feel like people that are actually from Texas probably are kind of like that. I mean, a lot of people are like that with their hometowns, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's true.
And we were talking about this, too, that first, was she at a bus stop?
I don't think there was a sign or anything.
I don't either.
It was
the
just
bus
a
just
road,
came.
yeah.
And where was it going to take her? And how was that better than any other mode of transportation that she has used?
Yeah, we were saying, she has a rocket, she has a jetpack. She has a jetpack that can fly her to the moon within a matter of seconds. What are you doing, Sandy?
Theoretically, she could just go on vacation to Texas, go chill, hang out.
Right, exactly. Just fly there. It'll take you 2 seconds. If you can go to the moon that fast.
Also that tree dome, clearly none of that existed before she came down here. So if she left, I would consider that littering. Just this whole tree dome
hunk of
there.
glass and metal.
Yeah, that's locked. Nobody can get in it.
You think of it that way. I think of that as that's her Airbnb now. So that's her side hustle.
But she made it seem like she's never coming back.
That's true, right? It's kind of weird. I guess, I don't know. Who knows? Another land critter could have come along. I don't know, but I don't know if that ever happens in SpongeBob. Of course, I haven't seen past season 4, so
I love the whole just the design of it too. How it's like, oh yeah, there's a tree in there, so she has oxygen, and also she's a squirrel, so the tree helps in other ways, and she can have her own garden and whatever.
Her little,
and obviously she has an unlimited
acorns.
water supply.
Right. Well, it's salt water, but yeah.
She has a highly sophisticated filtration system.
I'm sure she does. She's a fucking scientist. So anyway.
Yeah, so she comes back and she's off the bus now, and she even puts her bags down, and the bus drives off again, and he's like, Texas is dumb. She says, don't you dare take the name of Texas in vain, which is a reference to the Lord's name.
So
yes, correct.
Texas is maybe Jesus.
I mean, to Sandy, it's all the same, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, she's getting pretty mad, and then SpongeBob realizes he can use this to his advantage to get her to follow him.
Right.
Well,
first he doesn't. First he's like, you mean we can't say anything bad about dumb old Texas?
Yeah, you already said that.
What?
You just said that.
No, I said don't take the name of Texas in vain.
He starts to...
right, Patrick doesn't realize. Like,
at
they
first.
still don't at first, and he's like, what? Then can we say that people from Texas are dumb? Like, he's not trying to be mean. He's just asking clarification. It's like, obviously not. Like, Sandy's right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the only person he knows from Texas.
Yeah. So he thinks she's dumb, because that's the only person he's ever met from Texas. Like, why would you ask that?
So, right. And then at that point is when SpongeBob starts to... He's like, oh, you mean I can't say anything about Texas? And he's like shaking his buns.
Yeah, he has like both of his hands on like the sides where his butt cheeks should be, and he's like wiggling it.
Yeah, and his eyeballs are going around in circles. She's getting mad. You know, her cheeks are starting to get flushed.
Her sandy cheeks.
Yeah, and they do the stars at night are dull and dim. They do that deal, which is like a joke on, it's supposed to be the stars at night are big and bright.
Yeah.
It's some Texas anthem.
Whenever they have to be over dumb old stupid Texas.
And Patrick is doing the armpit fart at that point as well.
Yeah. And before that,
so they're a duet, you know?
They do the, look, Patrick, I'm Texas. And SpongeBob like grabs his pants like he's holding his big belt buckle. And he's walking around going, duh, howdy, y'all. Yeah. Howdy, y'all. And then Patrick starts going around, get a dog, little longie. Get a dog.
And, yeah, she's, her face is really good. We get a shot of her face just, like, in disbelief of, like, what she's seeing. And she's starting to steam. Her eyes turn red, and SpongeBob does the deal where he's shaped like Texas, and then he's like, hey Patrick, what am I? And he's like, stupid? And he says, no, I'm Texas. What's the difference? Funny.
Classic meme template right there.
Oh, is it?
It is, yeah, because it's like, look, what am I? And it's like Hitler, and it's like, no, I'm EA. And it's like, oh, what's the difference?
Yeah, I see. Like okay, I see, yeah. That's good.
And so I'm assuming that they don't know a lot about America and stuff outside of Bikini Bottom. So SpongeBob just saw this shape maybe for the first time when Sandy chopped it, and then he turned himself into that shape with flawless accuracy.
Right.
It's really impressive.
Yeah. Good on you, SpongeBob. And this point is when Sandy drops her bags. She walks in front of the camera, and the camera is like below her legs, and it's like a shootout.
She steps on it.
Well, yeah, I mean it's made to look like a Old West shootout type thing, and because you can see the boys through her legs. And she says something along the lines of, "Say one more thing about Texas, I'll be on you like ugly on an ape." Which this line is funny because somehow
apes are ugly.
Well, I always thought it said ugly on an egg. I don't know why. It still sounds like that to me when I hear it. And
because you're vegan.
I guess. I don't know. But I mean, I get it. Like, eggs are kind of ugly, you know? Like a plate of scrambled eggs. It's not like a good... I mean, I get whatever. If you like eggs, it might look good to you. But it's just a pile of shit, basically.
Yeah. That's how I would describe it.
Yes.
It's just a big pile of shit, basically.
Big old
Just
pile
like ground
of
beef,
shit.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, ground beef, same thing.
Just a big old pile of shit.
But anyway, they're like, you'll have to catch us first. And they're just like kind of like laughing and like jogging, not very fast.
The second they start running, they're already winded. They're like, ha ha, we sure got her, Sandy.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys were just leapfrogging, like, breathless, like,
silly boys.
so easily. And now they're like running out of energy.
Running out of H2O.
Running out of, yeah, right. And anyway, so Patrick continues to berate her as they are running. And, you know, he's like, can we say that plants from Texas are dumb? And his teeth, his like teeth, he's got like 5 of them, and they're like sticking out. Like they're all long, and they're coming out of the top of his mouth. There's big gaps between them.
He just looks like a nitwit.
Yeah, just a complete. Yeah, exactly. That's perfect word.
Can we say that shoes from Texas are dumb?
And that's when SpongeBob's like, "Hey, you know, like just knock it off," kind of whatever he says.
Enough.
And she's like, or
Well,
he's like, "What? You think that old slow poke Texas?" And then right then we see back, like he looks back. And we see his point of view, and it's Sandy gaining on them fast with tremendous form.
Yeah.
She's just
Yeah,
she's had some coaching somewhere. I mean,
I'm trying to think of what it reminds me of. Maybe like
Usain Bolt.
Captain America or any of those kind of like the way that they
think
run
of how
those.
damn strong she would have to be to do that underwater.
Too.
Too.
That's what I was thinking. Dude, my theory that she's like some like secret agent in Texas is that just fuels.
There's so much fuel for that fire.
Yeah.
So
he's like, no, run faster, and then they're screaming. They like both run around this big rock like 2 different ways.
Yeah, they split the rock.
Yeah, but Sandy runs right through it, and
it explodes basically.
Yeah, and she comes out twirling a rope, and when she runs through it, like they don't look back, but you can see their faces. They're like freaking out even more, like. This squirrel is gonna murder us right now.
They set that up perfect too, because like the second you see SpongeBob and Patrick split around the rock, like you know that Sandy's coming through that thing. Like
right.
there was never a doubt.
Yeah, right, for sure. At that point, they're running for their lives. You know, they're freaking out. We see the lasso come up behind and take Patrick, and it gets him, and he goes flying backwards. He's like, SpongeBob.
And then he explodes.
Kaboom!
Mushroom cloud, and this is my favorite shot in the whole show. Like as soon as Zach told me about this podcast, I was like, I got to be on the Texas episode because of that scene. I thought it was so funny as a kid.
I'm with you, dude. I remember this really fondly, and I did actually write that down as like my favorite part of him. Just the whole thing, getting lassoed, pulled back, and then exploding, and then SpongeBob's reaction to that. It's like gold. It's so good.
It's very Michael Bay.
Like, I wonder what she did to him that caused that kind of explosion. Like, what happened to Patrick?
Separated his atoms, you know?
Like, yeah, she hurt him on a molecular level at this
Right.
point, right?
Yeah, and I just thought that was so funny as a kid, and I didn't understand like the mushroom cloud, but I just
Right. I mean, I don't think you're
explosions.
supposed to understand it. It's nonsense, and that's why it's funny, you know?
And right before they do that bit, this is what I thought you were talking about earlier. She's running in her shoe, like she steps on the camera, and then it makes the transition to like them running.
Oh, okay.
Just like how it was shot. It's sweet that she steps on it.
So SpongeBob is all by himself now. And Patrick, running for his life, finds some shelter behind a piece of seaweed.
SpongeBob does?
Is that what did I say Patrick?
Yeah.
Again? My bad. SpongeBob finds some shelter behind a piece of seaweed, and he's just trying to catch his breath.
It looks like a tree, right? It's like pretty solid.
But it looks like the seaweed from the last episode. That's why I say that. So Sandy chops through the seaweed, and it makes like a saw noise, and there's even sawdust that shoots out.
Yeah.
And it saws right through the tree and then right through SpongeBob. So he's now in 2 pieces, and he continues to try to run, and he's holding hands with himself to like
Yeah,
to move forward before
his,
reforming.
Right, but the way that he starts running is his right arm is grabbing his left arm. So his like the inside, like freshly cut parts of his body are both facing outside.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So then he like switches himself over and pulls himself together.
Right. And she's like, gonna take back what you said, and he's like, no, and he's like almost there. He's like his eyes are all bloodshot. He's like about to collapse, you know.
And he looks back, and she's twirling the rope,
the lasso.
Then, yeah, and then it's in the shape of like SpongeBob with the legs and everything.
What finesse she has, you know. Yeah. It's incredible. And we get another great scream from SpongeBob right before he dives towards the door of the Krusty Krab. She is able to lasso his left hand, and he grabs onto the door with his right hand, and somehow the force is not enough to open the door, but I guess the door is locked or something, even though we know that door can lock, even though it's not always locked.
Yeah.
Even when it's closed. But so the door won't come open. SpongeBob is being stretched back the opposite way, and he's hanging on for dear life, you know, and it's going like down to his last finger that's hanging on, and he's completely stretched out to the point where his eyeball, you can like see his entire eyeballs bulging out of his eye holes.
Is this another example of SpongeBob being like strong too?
100%.
It is, yeah, for sure.
Because he rips the whole front of the store off.
Yeah, right. His like strength is enough to destroy this entire store.
Like, we've already established that Sandy is as strong as she is, so like he's somehow fending that off with like one arm.
He's like equally. He's basically equally strong as her. Right. That's what that would mean, right? Yeah. That's kind of weird. And anyway,
yeah, the whole side of the Krusty Krab, or the whole front of the Krusty Krab comes off, and there's we can see
no one's squatting.
Yeah, nobody's squatting. First of all,
I noticed
Mr.
that
Krabs,
immediately. Yeah.
Just like trying to be funny, I guess. Like, I can't say squatting forever.
He must have got tired and stood up.
Also, nobody cares that the Krusty Krab was just destroyed.
Yeah.
Again.
I know, not even crabs.
I know, because they're immediately just like, howdy, y'all. And then there's a sign up on the top.
Because
like a banner for
I'm pretty sure Krabs was not happy when they destroyed his restaurant in Employee of the Month. Yeah. So, whatevs. But, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of nice to see this wholesome side of Krabs where he actually cares about Sandy enough where he's like, whatever. You destroyed my restaurant. Don't care.
Even though, like, the last time I think we saw them on screen together, he sniffed the air and went, mammals.
Yeah, he's racist against mammals.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a big howdy, y'all, and it's like, what's this? She's all, like, caught off guard, you know? It's a party. And then that's when Patrick hops up on his belly. He's hogtied and got bandages all over him. For you!
For me? It's your own little slice of Texas, and SpongeBob's got the best things that they do in Texas.
Yeah.
Square dancing, and it has flats.
The flounder.
He's dancing with just a cube.
Yeah, it's not even a square; it's a cube.
Yeah.
Cube dancing.
Yeah.
Giant barbecues, and it's Squidward holding up this spiky cue. It's like gigantic. Looks like it'd be really heavy. He keeps like letting go of it though, and like, ow, it's pricking his hand.
Yeah, it's
like,
why the hell are you holding cue with barbs.
Yes, it is a Barbie cue.
Yes.
And then they also have homemade peas in a can pie,
which is a pie in a tin with a hole in the top of it with a open can of peas sticking out. It's a good one of those. It's one of those close-ups. The close-up painting. And then he's like, and we even got our own 10-gallon hats, and they're those 10-gallon jugs of water you would see at like a water cooler.
Yeah, and they put them on their heads. SpongeBob and Patrick both do.
Yeah, opposite ways, which I always thought was funny. Patrick puts it on like lid first, and SpongeBob puts it on like base first.
Well, whatever,
that's the only
way. Yeah, that's the only way. Patrick
I guess SpongeBob could fit it in his hole. That would be pretty secure.
That don't sound right.
He puts things in his holes a lot. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, he had music notes in his holes today.
Yeah. And that
they went right in and came right out.
Okay.
So obviously they're a little bit wrong on some of these. You know, square dancing is not what that is. A barbecue is not what that is.
Yeah, he's got it all wrong.
And it's definitely pecan pie.
But this is, I mean, we do get the moral literally explained to us by Sandy, but part of the moral too is also it's the thought that counts here in this case.
Yeah, exactly. So she starts to laugh, and she's like rolling on the ground, laughing.
Yeah.
ROFL.
Yeah.
And but they're like, "Oh, it didn't work," you know.
Yeah,
and
they think she's crying.
Yeah, her helmet's filling back up with water, and that's why they're like, "Oh, well, all right, don't cry anymore, Sandy. I'll get your bags." And then she does the other thing. She takes out the flusher handle, flushes the water out, and she has a big old smile on her face. It's like, can you read the room?
You're right,
SpongeBob?
right.
Like, it's pretty obvious she's happy.
Obviously he can't because he had no idea she was sad before.
Yeah.
But anyway, she flushes the tears,
Like,
and she tells us the moral of the story.
Sometimes I just want to say, SpongeBob, it seems like he only reacts to what people say and not the way that they look or what he sees.
Right, yeah. He like can't pick up on certain body language cues sometimes. Yeah. So anyway, the moral being, home isn't about barbecues or pecan pies. It's about being around other critters that care about you, which is really sweet, and it's true because that is what home is,
Right.
That's what family is, it doesn't have to be blood or whatever. It's just you want to be around people that care about you and vice versa.
It's very wholesome.
Yeah. No, I was like, this is good. I like this.
Because like I feel like the contrast between the episodes is like Patrick like taking stuff too far and being like really mean and obviously upsetting Sandy, and then at the end like it's just it comes back around and it's like, oh well, these people care about me.
Yeah, we all love you,
the
except for Squidward.
Yeah.
Even though Squidward's there, he does not look happy to be there at all.
Right? This is a very ends justify the means type situation where they were saying bad things about Texas just to
right
to get her to go
to come around,
but at first
and be
they
like,
didn't.
no, see, we actually like Texas. We want to bring Texas here to you because we like you and we don't want to lose you.
Yeah. So she's like, she notices, what am I doing?
Yeah,
I was home all along.
She says "duh" to herself. She goes,
duh. Her dad's not a phone.
Yeah, her dad is not a phone. And so she realizes her mistake. She decides to stay. And then...
did we mention when you said critters around that like they were around the shot completely? All of the friends?
No, yeah. When she says that, when she says it's about other critters that care about you, all the people surround the shot up on the ceiling, on the whole thing.
Yeah, some of them are like just upside down.
Right.
Not touching anything.
But yeah.
And they're all smiling.
Yeah, they all smile at her, and she realizes that she's got to stay. This is actually where I belong.
Yeah. 'Cause one thing when they do all the pictures of like her in Texas, that are like that squirrel, she's always alone. She's only cooking one steak.
Oh.
She's crying by herself.
Yeah.
Interesting. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you can go have your 20 acres, but you're all alone. What does it matter then,
Right. There's a lot of squirrels out there. She must be very unlikable.
Well, I think, she is a special squirrel, I would say.
Yeah.
That being said, closing line, which I think is probably my favorite line of the episode.
Right before SpongeBob says, she says, I'm staying. He says, that makes me feel all wiggly. So,
what does that mean?
I don't know. He's got like butterflies.
I guess like tingly, yeah.
Ooh, I feel all wiggly.
And
or he's hard. He also is trying to bang Sandy. That's a common theme.
We discovered that he likes Sandy. Really? Like, at least in a couple episodes, there's things that you can take as like, he likes her, dude. Like,
you know what's crazy about that? That'd be like someone like coming from outer space and us trying to like bang him.
And that's what someone would do, for sure.
Oh, for
no
sure.
matter
There's
doubt.
definitely someone.
There'd be a lot of people who'd be like, I want to bang that alien.
Yeah.
Hey, low-key, that alien's got some ass on it.
It's got 3 asses. Like,
we could all have one.
Right.
No, but the thing being that they can never have sex because they have to have special equipment on just to be in the same environment as each other as well.
That's okay. That ain't no problem.
Well, I'm saying, how would they do it? She'd have to take her suit off.
One or the other would die of they couldn't breathe.
You've clearly never played Mass Effect, Zach. You can make it work, all right, man.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I mean, I feel like SpongeBob in the tree dome with like the thing on his head. He's good.
I guess so. He can still whip out his cock.
But it fills up his whole body.
No, well,
Kind of.
Okay, that's good for Sandy.
Yeah.
He's absorbent, and he's gonna.
Really,
yeah,
really, all she would have to do is just keep splashing water on him throughout.
Yeah.
Oh, she would be splashing hella water
for
on
sure,
him.
dude. Oh, okay.
Natural.
Okay.
Oh man, that's fun.
Yeah.
There's like a line, and we just like stepped over it. Maybe like a tad, but we're back. We're back.
Yeah. I was gonna take it another step, but maybe we should just move forward.
I don't know. Yeah, do you guys want to say anything else about that episode?
We didn't finish saying what you were.
I
cut you off.
Oh, we
about
didn't.
The last line.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the closing line, which I think is my favorite. Patrick says, "Yeah, who needs dumb old Texas?" And then we get the shot of the island above water, and we just hear her go, "What did you say?" And that's it.
And he says, "Should I start running now?"
Oh yeah, right. I just like the "What did you just say?" because it's like, damn it, Patrick! Like now I have to beat your ass. Like
again,
you couldn't have just been cool, you know.
She is pretty similar to Hank Hill, and her love for Texas.
Sense that they live in Texas.
Yeah, and like, I'm gonna kick your ass type situations,
God damn it, Bobby.
It's a Texas thing.
Don't talk bad about Texas or propane.
Yeah, for sure. So, anything else we want to say about that episode before we move on?
Perfect scores. Can't rate it any higher.
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
1,000 peas in a can in a pie.
1,000 mushroom clouds of Patrick exploding.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, moving right along then to Walking Small. This episode clocks in at 11 minutes long. Storyboard director was Aaron Springer. Storyboard artist was Eric Weiss. It was written by them two, along with Mr. Lawrence, animation director Sean Dempsey, and creative director
Derek Drymon.
Correct.
Good one. So, the name Walking Small, obviously a reference to the movie Walking Tall.
Sure.
Which the second one had The Rock in it. I believe that was a remake.
The remake, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that movie came out way after this episode.
For sure, yeah. It did.
No, yeah, that was a remake.
Yeah, no, there was the original with, I can't think of the actor's name. It's a white guy, though. It's not The Rock.
The movie's it's about a badass guy who carries a 2x4.
And beats the shit out of things.
And he has trouble with the law.
Yeah. So Walking Small, we get an opening shot of Goo Lagoon, and it's panning along, showing us the beautiful, beach scenery. And we come up to the sign, which says, "Welcome to Goo Lagoon," and a tiny bulldozer labeled CB drives up and pulls this sign right out of the ground.
Why do you think...
Chum bucket.
Yeah. Dipshit. It's like,
BS.
I don't even know you. Fuck.
You don't think he's a cornerback?
He could be. Yeah, CB
Or
for
a
Chum
center
Bucket,
back?
of course. So Plankton hops out, and he's wearing a hard hat with a light on it. He puts up some barricades, grabs a tiny megaphone from under his hat.
Well, it's a regular megaphone as far as we can see, but he's a really small person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's relative to his size. It's regular.
It's big.
but-
It's normal size to him, but I'm saying tiny, meaning
Yeah.
Plankton is a tiny man.
Attention,
And-
beachgoers.
yeah,
"You are trespassing. You have exactly 17 minutes to haul your carcasses off the future site of the," and then he plants the sign, "Chum Bucket Mega Bucket." And then he's like, it zooms out to where you can see people walking by and they can see him, and
the
it's
beach.
just like a
Right, yeah, it's just this tiny little noise, and the dude's like, "Did you hear something?" And it's like, "No." The lifeguard is like checking his phone because he's like, "Is something in here making a
he's
noise?"
trying to like hit it out.
Yeah, and then we cut back to Plankton, who's like, "Okay, have it your way," and I don't mind bulldozing over each and every one. And then at that point, a little boy walks up and he's like, "Mommy, look, a toy tractor." And she's like, "Put that down. That has germs on it."
Oh, Mom.
"Oh, Mom." And he just throws it into the sand. Right. I mean, it's not even right side up now.
Yeah,
Plankton
sideways.
can't do anything with it now.
Exactly.
And he's like, "You'll see, Plankton." And he's like, this is a tough one because Plankton says way more words than any other character in this show. And it's like, damn, dude, it's just hard because I want to play every one of his clips because he says so much. Yeah. It's like
he like monologues.
Right. Must be clear to these cretinous beachgoers. And he uses such great words too. I love Plankton. He's an awesome character.
You'll see. You'll all see! The future site of the Chum Bucket Mega Bucket must be clear to these cretinous beachgoers. But it's becoming increasingly obvious. I can deny it no longer! I am small. I need someone big to clear the beach for me. I need... Oh!
And then at that point, he's like, "I need," and we can see the shadow start to form right where Plankton is, and it's SpongeBob's foot coming down.
He almost steps on.
Yeah, Plankton dives out of the way into the sand, and then we get classic, which I don't know. Is it stepping on the beach? Is that what we all think it is, or is it? It
does sound not like.
It doesn't
beach,
sound like he says beach to me
sure
at all.
So. The first thing I notice is the fact that SpongeBob is wearing dress shoes at the beach.
Yeah,
right,
he always wears dress shoes.
He's
got his swimsuit on, too.
Right.
Yes, so it's a very interesting stylistic choice by Mr. Bob.
Yeah.
SpongeBob!
Dabbing on the beat, doo, 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 doo. Dabbing on the beat, doo, 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 doo. Dabbing on the beat, doo, 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 doo. Dabbing on the beat, doo, doo, doo.
Yes, he's the one.
But yeah, and I mean, this is a very memorable part of this show. I would say anybody who watched this show will probably remember just that little stepping on a beat thing. Right. Even if they don't know what episode it is, because I couldn't remember what episode it was or anything. I was like, "Oh man, and this is great. This is classic." Yeah. Plankton is like, "Yes, he's the one," and he starts to laugh maniacally.
And at this point, when he gets up, his antennas are both like packed into sand. It looks like he has like a big sand afro or something.
It's like Marge Simpson's hair almost.
Yeah,
on top
but
of
it
his
only
head.
goes up to the top of his.
Yeah, you can still see his antenna. Oh, real quick, this is stupid. On the SpongeBob wiki, some idiot posted, "Steppin' on the Beach has a similar tune to Aqualung by Jethro Tull." What? Like, what kind of crack are you smoking? Whoever you are, I hope you heard that. You're an idiot.
That's the guy from the UK.
We have a lot of guys from the UK.
So he's like, SpongeBob walks up to the ice cream stand. I thought this was funny. This is the same clerk as before. At the ice cream stand, he's like an orange and blue fish. I think he's cool.
Yeah, and he
I think
wears
he's
like
cool
a little
looking.
paper hat.
Yeah, he gets in line, but he's about to ask for one, but a little orange fish cuts in line with that real, like, I don't know, grizzled voice. He's like, "Two, please." And the guy gives him 2 ice creams, no payment. And then a green eel, or SpongeBob again, asks for 1. The guy takes the ice cream out, and this fucking oblivious, dumbass green eel fucking goes right through SpongeBob's body.
Yeah.
He he sees what's going on and is like, "Oh, I should have this ice cream cone," and goes through SpongeBob and just takes it from him.
Yeah, like legit through his like holes too, like not just like around him, you know. Like,
right through the sponge that's standing in front of him, who just asked for an ice cream cone. It's like, I don't know. I don't like that green eel, but he gets his. So.
He's a doofus, man. I hated that guy.
He really is. Like, he even sounds like an idiot. You're like, this guy.
He even says, "Excuse me," after that. But he's still a dick.
Yeah. And so that was the last ice cream because SpongeBob, that's what the guy says. That was the last ice cream.
Sorry, kid. We're all out.
And SpongeBob is kind of disappointed, but not too much. He's still in good spirits. But he notices Plankton sitting on the bench, who is crying with 2 ice cream cones on either side of him.
Also, everybody is eating strawberry, specifically. Yeah. It's all pink ice cream.
Well, it could be bubblegum flavored or something.
Sure. It's all pink, though. I know. I'm a master of colors.
Yeah, good on you. You got that one right. Yep. So he's got these two ice cream cones, and he's crying because he's got 2, but he only needs 1. I just love the way he delivers that line. Right. I don't know what to do with the other one. Like, it's like such a hard thing to deal with.
Saying it makes him cry harder.
Yeah, right.
Oh, hi, SpongeBob. I'm crying because I've got these 2 ice cream cones, but I only need 1. I don't know what to do with the other one.
I'll eat one of those ice cream cones for you.
Yeah.
He continues bawling, and then he briefly stops to make sure SpongeBob is still biting onto this ruse.
Yeah, and then he starts crying again.
And continues, and SpongeBob's like, "Hey, I'll eat one of those."
The way that he comes up, he's like, "I'll eat one of those ice cream cones for you." Like, I'm gonna help you, buddy. Yeah. I'm gonna do this for you.
And so he starts licking the shit out of this ice cream cone.
For me?
He goes ape shit on this on this ice cream cone.
And Plankton is not eating his ice cream, even though you would think that an ice cream would be like an insanely filling meal for him.
It'd be like, you could.
That would be if he ate that one ice cream, it would be like 50 times his body mass.
Right. There's no way he could eat it all in one sitting. But
especially not 2 of them.
Heck no. And SpongeBob is like so into this ice cream cone. He's licking it all around it, and then he just takes a big bite. He bites the whole cone off, and it's just the end of the cone. And then he's like dipping his tongue into that. Which
he's just like punching the hole with his tongue.
Yeah, he's punching the cone with his tongue. Correct. And that's the best way to say it.
And Plankton's like, SpongeBob. He's like trying to get his attention. Like, hey, I just helped you. He's like trying to get into the business side real quick. SpongeBob is just like,
SpongeBob's way too into this ice cream cone. Yeah. And anyway, he finally gets his attention with the megaphone again. And SpongeBob turns around and it like showers Plankton with like little bits of ice cream and cone. And Plankton gives us a speech here. In essence, he just tells him, you can have whatever you want as long as you are assertive. You need to be more assertive. And SpongeBob
says all you need is a little bit of training to get everything you want.
Yeah.
And he's like licking his fingers the whole time.
SpongeBob is still even though the cone is gone, he's still just like licking the ice cream off his face and fingers and stuff.
He's like, training? But he's not really like looking at him and engaging. He's still worrying about
He's
his
catching
own thing.
1 or 2 words from Plankton, basically.
He's like, you have to be assertive. I can show you how. Assertive, huh?
Yeah.
That's right. And he's like, He's like thinking about it, still smacking his lips.
Yeah.
Anything I want. And then he finishes and he just, sounds great. Like all of that.
Yeah, right.
Not showing any emotion one way or another.
He didn't hear most of what Plankton said, obviously. He just agrees to it. So what? They both do they both laugh and then that guy comes up and then,
they're on a bench together.
Yeah, the guy comes up, sits on his face,
Especially after watching him eat that ice cream cone. I think he did that on purpose.
Yeah, he's like, damn, I'm about to sit
He's like,
on
damn,
this.
I'm about to sit on this dude's face.
The guy has a watch on too, and you can see it when he first sits down.
I thought that was funny. Yeah.
But it's funny that once Plankton says wonderful, and he's like, ha 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 ha, and SpongeBob's doing his like ha ha ha, like it's an evil version of his laugh, kind of. But he's laughing so much that he like vibrates over to the other side of the bench, just so this guy can sit on.
The guy sits on him, and he's like,
You hear a crunch when he.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can hear his bones fucking turning into dust. And he's like, don't let that guy sit on you. Assertiveness lesson 1. Tell the guy to get off. And he's like, excuse me, sir, you're sitting on my body, which is also my face. Which is funny, because it's true. His body and his face are kind of all the same thing.
Mm-hmm. I've brought it up before.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, I thought that was funny. He's like, no, be assertive. And then SpongeBob sticks his hand in the guy's pocket and goes, beep, beep.
Not insertive.
And then at that point, the guy checks his watch and leaves. So, like, what the frick was that guy
he
even
was like,
doing there?
huh, do I have
you are
time
so
to...
right. He was trying to get trying to get something out of that.
Yeah, he's like, do I have time to sit on the bench for 10 seconds?
Right,
On this man's face.
He's like, oh, been 10 seconds.
10 seconds is up, yeah. And Plankton's like, you got to be aggressive. You're too soft. And that's great, because SpongeBob is like,
but I'm
a spot. And he's like, don't say it. And then at that point, the green eel from before with SpongeBob's ice cream walks by. My bad. And he's like, I love this. You noticed the way that Plankton says ice cream is really funny. I like it. He's like, that green. He's like,
that's the guy who took your ice cream.
Yeah.
He's kind of like Vegeta. I don't know. He just says weird stuff.
Just says it a little differently. Weird. And he's like,
don't you want it back?
Yeah, don't you want it back? And SpongeBob just goes, ice cream. And Plankton runs up to the guy and is like, listen, my friend's got something to say. And the green guy's like, what? Who said that? Was it you? And it's SpongeBob standing there. He obviously doesn't see Plankton. And he's like, tell him off, SpongeBob. Assert yourself. This is my personal favorite part of the episode. I think it's the funniest. Line.
Like when I was telling people about this episode, I was mentioning this part right here.
Yeah, because he's like,
that's my ice cream cone.
Great! Now let him have it!
You can have it. Say thanks!
No!
This random guy that you just went through already as well, he like walks up and he's like, hey, that's my ice cream cone. You can have it. Can you imagine, like, thanks for wasting my time.
That's almost like someone saying, by the way, nice car.
Yeah. That'd be weird if someone at a gas station said that.
Just randomly. Someone you don't know or have never talked to.
Yeah. So Plankton jumps in SpongeBob's mouth now. He's very tall jumper.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll show you how. So he's now talking through SpongeBob's mouth.
And SpongeBob just stays perfectly still.
Yeah, he doesn't move his lips at all. He's just smiling with a dumb look.
Yeah.
There's like lines coming out of his mouth to show that it's, him talking. And then it's Plankton who says,
hey, pencil neck. Yeah, you. Slither over here. Surrender that ice cream cone, or every waking moment for you will become a swirling torrent of pain and misery.
Hey, that guy was crying.
Those were tears of joy. He was happy that you were assertive.
What's funny about this to me, too, is, like, so they already established that, like, Plankton yelling through a megaphone isn't loud enough for anybody to hear. Yeah. But somehow jumping into SpongeBob's mouth, like, this guy can hear him from, 30 yards away, it looks like.
Right, yeah. Somehow that's like a... I don't know, yeah. Somehow the acoustics of Inside SpongeBob must be really, really crazy.
Yeah.
That's when the guy throws the ice cream into SpongeBob's face and runs off crying. And SpongeBob's like, hey, he was crying, and...
Those were tears of joy. He was happy that you were assertive.
Yeah. And
like, that's just a thing. Like, people are like, I'm so happy you're assertive.
Right. And
What a world.
He's like, see how wonderful life can be when you're maniacal? And he's like, I thought it was called assertive. And he goes, whatever. Well, if it got me this ice cream, I like it. And he throws it on his tongue, where Plankton is still laying belly down.
It looks like he could be like sunbathing.
Yeah. He's laying down on SpongeBob's tongue. SpongeBob is on the beach using a metal detector, and this dude just walks up and is like, "Hey, my metal detector broke. Can I use yours?" Like, it's like totally like, what? Like, that's not a thing that you do
and
in real life.
And it was right after SpongeBob said, "I found something. We don't know what it is." But he's like, mine broke. Let me use yours.
And SpongeBob, being the sweet boy he is just like, yeah, here, take it.
Tell that guy to take a hike.
Do you want to take a hike with me?
Yeah. Now look what you've done. Tell that guy to go fall in the ditch.
Hey, go tuck in that ditch.
Wow, buried treasure. Thanks.
A conveniently placed ditch that obviously has a treasure chest in at the bottom.
Clear sight.
Yeah,
it has like a very small amount of sand on top of it.
Right. And the guy goes down there and puts the frickin' thing up to it, and he's like, "Whoa, buried treasure. Thanks."
So he had to be sure. Like, you can see it, but he's like, you know what? Maybe I should hit this with a metal detector just to make sure it's not like a fake box.
I'm not even gonna open it. I'm just gonna use the metal detector.
It's like, did you see that, Plankton? That guy found buried treasure. Like, okay, you gave him the equipment. You turned him in the direction. We still don't know what you found underneath yourself. Somebody just left buried treasure out there. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, but then Plankton is like,
tell that guy you know karate, and you'll tie him in a knot if you don't get your metal detector back.
And this is what I was saying about Plankton using so many words. This is too much for SpongeBob to comprehend what he just said to him. So he's like, hey, I'm gonna tie your shoe
if you don't give that back.
Yeah, right. And he's like, I'm wearing sandals. And SpongeBob's just like, oh, he's wearing sandals.
Okay, never mind. It's all right, Plankton. He's wearing sandals.
And at this point is when Plankton has given up.
And we can see it by him putting stuff in his suitcase.
Yeah, he walks along the beach to his suitcase, which he packs up, where did that come from? That was never around before. But it's great, too, because he picks up the dolly, and it's like, Mama.
Well, he's taking 3 things with him. He's taking 1 sock, 1 shirt, and a dolly.
That's all you need.
Yeah. And so we've never seen him wear a sock or a shirt or use a doll. I mean, it's his size, I don't know what he'd be doing with it.
But he does put a hat on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He also never has worn this hat before, but he puts on a fedora.
But it is like that. It's letting you know, like, he's packing up,
like
he's
Casablanca.
leaving, he's going home. I put my hat on and I'm out.
He's done with this game.
Right, and it's even got a feather in it too. At that point, he's like, he gives another speech and he says something about him being a stand-up guy.
You don't have what it takes to be a stand-up guy.
And
SpongeBob's just like, but what about airline food?
Yeah. Which this has got to be like Seinfeld.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I wrote Jerry Seinfeld reference.
Yeah, for sure.
I love Seinfeld. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan, but I haven't seen every episode. I watched Friends a lot more because I had a mom and a sister, I guess. But I like Seinfeld. But it's funny, this joke, way over my head as a kid. I had no fucking idea what the joke was. I didn't know what a stand-up comedian was. Like, I just remember being like, what? Right. I don't get it.
This show's dumb sometimes.
Yeah, right. This show is just dumb. But yeah.
Right. So he's like, airline food. My gosh, what is up with that stuff? Thank you. Good night.
Yeah. He's like, see, I can be a stand-up guy, which I get it now. He's doing stand-up comedy. That's the joke.
Yeah. What do you mean you get it now? You didn't?
I didn't as a kid. I just said that.
I didn't get that it was a Seinfeld reference, but I got that he was
that's just
comedy.
kind of Seinfeld's delivery. He's like the one who popularized that delivery
and that specific airline food.
Yeah, he talks about airline food. Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know why, but it seemed like a lot of cartoons actually, when they wanted to do something like somebody who wasn't funny trying to be funny, they would always talk about airline food. Like they would do it on
It's
other
definitely
cartoons.
something I've seen in other cartoons, yeah, because I remember thinking that, seeing it in something else and being like, oh, they said that in SpongeBob too. Like, what the fuck is up with airline food? Why are we all talking about it? I don't get it.
Right.
And he's like, but anyway, Plankton is like, you'll never get what you want. You just let people step all over you. You're just like stairs, which I love that line. I need to use that in real life.
And when he says you'll always let people step all over you, he steps in the ground, and it sounds like he's like crunching a cockroach. Like it's kind of gross.
Yeah, that's like his sound of his little legs touching things. So anyway,
SpongeBob just wants to make Plankton happy.
Right. So he gives him one more chance.
SpongeBob's like, well, just give me another chance, Plankton. He's like, all right, well, this is your last chance. Yeah, look at these beach hogs soaking up your sun rays. Do you have what it takes to get a tan? So he's like, just watch me. So now he's going to be a big jerk. And he has a blanket. Everyone's laying down. He starts like flapping it, and there's sand going everywhere. And he even remarks, man, this thing is sandy.
Yeah, and there is a my leg here as well.
Yeah, just from that.
Yeah, just the sand. Fred was on that beach, and the sand in his eye just made him fall over and hurt his leg or something.
Poor guy.
So anyway, he clears out the beach with the sand, and we see and when the dust clears, we see SpongeBob using a ginormous funnel to focuses all the sun right onto him.
Yeah.
A funnel?
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to get across.
That's the idea.
It's like made of metal.
Because it's up there, right? And then you can see the ray shooting down onto him. So it's like somehow it makes it way better, and he gets a tan within seconds because when he comes back, he's like hot dog colored.
Dude, you remember there were a lot of metal slides when we were kids. I feel like
really
you never
hot.
see them anymore because it's such a dumb idea. You be on it once in the sun, and you're like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
Why does every park have this?
Yeah, like, God forbid any part of your body that wasn't covered in clothing rubbed against it, and it, like, stuck, pulled, and burned you all at the same time. Like...
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, man. That was...
And there's usually a line because all the kids are like, I'm too scared to go down it. And you're like, come on. We all don't want to do this, but we're here.
There was a lot of things on playgrounds that really weren't. I mean, dude, jungle gyms, you don't see jungle gyms anymore. You want to know why? If you fall and your leg gets caught, you're fucking fucked up for life, basically.
Right, yeah, you're breaking your leg.
Yeah.
I remember the one playground thing that I remember I don't see anymore. Do you guys remember it's like a bar that's probably 8 foot across, and there's like one little handle on it.
Yeah.
That you could, you're meant to hold on to it
and you just
like
launch
run.
your friends.
But I remember what we used to do is we'd stand on opposite sides, and like you were playing goalie to not let it hit your side, and you would just throw it as hard as you could.
Yeah.
And like we had several people like break their fingers because they were trying to catch it before it hit, and it would just like jam across it.
Oh man, that sounds painful.
We would do that all the time. Or even just like if you're like trying to have a casual conversation with your friend, you're like, here, we'll just throw this thing back and forth.
Well, I remember my sister too. There was those slides that it was like a bunch of rolling pins, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my sister used to run up it, and she slipped running up it and like busted her face on it. She had to go to the hospital and everything. It was fucked.
I remember they were pushing a girl across that that thing we were just talking about, and she like fell off and dislocated her knee.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We were like terrible. 10. Oh man. You got to be careful out there.
You got to risk it.
Yeah, right? I mean,
for the biscuit.
You do. So anyway, Plankton says, "Is that an all-over tan?" to SpongeBob, which is like, what is he?
Yeah.
What is he asking?
He's like super brown, as you said.
But it's like, is he asking if it goes below his clothes? Like that's what I read it as.
Yeah, that's kind of pervy.
Yeah, like what? Why do you even want to know, Plankton? You weirdo. Anyway, I guess.
But then we can hear the hot dog guy selling hot dogs.
Yeah, the octopus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which this is the first time we've ever seen an octopus in the show, and I don't know that we see very many ever again.
Right. So there's not really a line, but Plankton says, look at that huge line at the hot dog stand. Assert yourself to the front. But it's not really a line. It's just 4 people sitting on a stool like it's a bar.
They're standing,
and they all have
I think,
hot dogs
but yeah.
in front of them. Yeah.
Because the guy's handing them out, and they're all standing there like they're about to take them. SpongeBob comes up with this on his own and just shoots his tongue out of his mouth, which this is a very memorable gag as well. Shoots his tongue out of his mouth, and it just goes right up, in a perfect line, scoops all of those hot dogs right out of the octopus's hand, and then curls back. Yeah. So he eats all 4 of the hot dogs all at once. And bums those people out, and one of them just goes, "Let's just go home." Like, it's just so bummed out.
And the hot dog guy's like, "Well, I gotta close up."
Yeah, right. Everyone's leaving.
It's like,
I only had 4 hot dogs to sell for the day.
Right, and that's it.
Right, and I gave him away for free. I'm not gonna find this guy and make him pay for him or anything.
Yeah, and then we have
You can't buy me hot dog, man.
Yeah.
That's what SpongeBob said.
Yeah, exactly. What, you think I'm stupid?
SpongeBob's not going to be a part of your system.
And he's
That's
like,
for sure.
"Look at those kite flyers, blocking your view, breaking your wind," which that's a Tootski joke. Yeah. SpongeBob pulls out one of his teeth, his buck teeth, and tosses that boy along the beach.
Like a boomerang. And
it boomerangs right back into his mouth, but in doing so, it severs the line of each and every kite on the beach.
And we can see it has the little, like a root almost on the top of the tooth when he pulls it out.
Right, it does, yeah.
And it just flies right back into his mouth.
Yeah, and he's feeling the effects of this negative behavior because he's becoming maniacal and laughing. And just then the volleyball gets knocked over his way, and he grabs it, and what is it, Larry is like, "Hey, throw us the ball." SpongeBob, what does he do? He just pops it with his hands, which is another feat of strength. Holy shit, how strong would you have to be to do that?
Yeah, he just presses it together till it pops.
And
then he's celebrating it kind of, and he gets a big trunk on his face.
He grows an elephant's trunk,
and he's
makes the noise, this is and I love this too. He goes back to Plankton. He's like, "Did you see that? I was a regular alpha male."
Yeah, he's breathing heavy. He's coming down from it.
Yeah. He was so alpha, he grew a trunk.
It's Plankton. And then you see Plankton driving a crane, a life-sized one. So before, he was in a mini bulldozer, but now he's able to run this crane with a small control panel. It's why did he try to use the small bulldozer in the first place?
Who even knows with Plankton? Or maybe he went and bought that or something, or built it. Who knows? While SpongeBob was off doing this. But that's when SpongeBob realizes that there's nobody left on the beach, and he's like, "Whoa, all my assertiveness drove everyone away. You didn't tell me that."
Asserting. That's the act of being assertive, I guess. He's saying all of my asserting is driving everyone away.
He's like, "You didn't tell me they would leave," and that's when Plankton's like, "Oops," hits the button, and the sign shoots out of the sand that says "Future site of Chum Bucket Mega Bucket."
Yeah, so a few things, right? Just to pull that one gag, you'd have to bury a sand, make a lever thing for it to come out. Seems like a lot of work. And also, he's making a mega bucket when he can't even get regular customers at his own place. So not only should he not be able to afford it, but if he could, it's still a horrible business choice. Maybe he thinks that the beach is the best place, but people are out there getting free hot dogs and ice cream anyways.
Everything's free on the beach, so
Yeah, and what's gonna put the mega bucket apart from the Chum Bucket?
Yeah, it's
the name's better, probably. It doesn't make any sense, but
that is
Chum Bucket is kind of like a.
That's basically Plankton's gimmick, though, is that his plans are never good. They never work. They always fail.
He talks like he's so smart.
Right. I mean,
really
and he is smart, but he's just a little guy, I mean, he can't do it on his own, and he thinks he can. I think that's his main downfall, is that he's evil and shuts people out. It's if you just accepted the help from everybody, Chum Bucket could be a pretty cool place. But you're an a-hole, so it doesn't work.
I do think it's kind of funny that I don't know if you guys noticed, but when he pulls the sign out, the music that's playing in the background, is the same music that was playing at the movie theater when like he kind of revealed this whole scheme of like not really being friends with SpongeBob.
Oh,
but they kind of loop in that same music again, so it's kind of like SpongeBob should have seen this coming. Like every time he plays this, he tries to be friendly with Plankton. It comes around, and yep, Plankton was just using you.
Right.
And I think it's a nice little callback to have the same music there.
That is funny. I didn't notice that. Good one, Jake.
Yeah. So he's like, I can't believe you used me for land development.
Yeah.
That wasn't nice.
That wasn't nice.
Yeah.
Like he's real sad about it.
Haven't you figured it out, SpongeBob? Nice guys finish last. Only aggressive people conquer the world.
And that sets something off, and a light bulb goes off for SpongeBob, and he says, "What about aggressively nice people?" And just then, that's when SpongeBob starts to right all his wrongs. And I wanted to say, awesome animation on SpongeBob's tongue, him like bringing everything back up, like he really.
Yeah.
It's really good. Like his cheeks fill up and stuff. It's just well drawn, you know? And the tongue shoots back out. Right? It puts the things back where they were. Everyone runs up and just grabs the hot dogs off his tongue. And
they all take a bite instantly.
Which is disgusting.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
He ate and then a minute later regurgitated, and you're literally grabbing it off his tongue.
You came running for that hot dog, and you can see the little octopus man changes the close sign back to open.
Yeah, he's
happy.
like, oh, now that there's customers here, I'm open.
Yeah, and
even though I don't have the hot dog situation, still the same.
So the snack bar is repopulated. He brings the kites back and just kind of sets them in place, and then they're just floating there, and then people run up to them to hold them, which is like, if they just float there, what's even the point of holding on to it?
They would have just flown away.
But no, I know, but the joke being that they stayed there, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
but... And then there's a girl who has an ice cream, and it has sand on it.
Yeah, she dropped it in the sand, and she's sad.
SpongeBob grabs it with his hand, and then bats it with his eyelashes to get all the sand off, and then he puts it back on the cone.
I'm a big fan of this joke too, just because it's funny, and the sound effects, the little like twinkle toes sound effect for it, and then Plankton is like, butterfly kisses, like he
kisses.
He thinks he's like, it's too cute, it's disgusting. It's great.
Yeah. Which the song "Butterfly Kisses" is also really disgusting. It sounds like a guy who wants to bang his daughter. I don't know if you've heard it.
I don't know that one.
Butterfly kisses. I'll play it for you. It's a weird song.
No, don't know that one, bud. But and then we see Scooter on the beach. He's got a broken board. It's his new board, apparently. He immediately broke it, which is a shitty feeling, I'm sure.
Yeah, so he's been up to a lot since finding buried treasure. He used that money to buy a...
that wasn't Scooter.
No, different fish.
Or wasn't it?
Different fish, bro.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I guess he was.
Yeah. They had different clothes on, and they didn't have the same voice either.
Yeah, the one guy...
Similar look and color, though, to your credit.
Okay.
So Sponge morphs into a surfboard for him that Jake pointed out, I think, would have his face down.
And not only because his face is down, because the bottom, like the fin, is his nose. It makes sense.
Okay.
And then when he turns it around, you can see SpongeBob's like rounded butt cheek lines in there. So like his shorts are still a little low, and he still has a little bit of butt going on.
A little bit of butt.
A little bit of butt.
Just a little bit. That's all I need.
And Plankton's like, stop, your kindness is bringing everyone back. And everybody's like running, and then they even step on him a few times.
Yeah, he gets trampled. At that point, Scooter surfs onto the beach with SpongeBob, like right up onto the sand, you know? And he's like, that was awesome.
And he throws out a cowabunga right before.
Nice.
It's one of our favorite words.
I used to say it sometimes
to describe joy.
Yeah. And Plankton is in the fetal position. He's fucked up from being trampled and what have you. And for some reason, there's a puddle next to him.
Yeah, like he was either crying a lot or there was like water.
I think there might have been a cut a cut joke right there, if I had to guess, because it's like there's just an inexplicable puddle of water. I don't know.
Yeah.
Which happens in cartoons, pretty often. But so Plankton, he's really messed up from getting trampled, but all the kindness is also getting to him, as he tells us.
Yeah, because SpongeBob apologizes about the chum bucket. But he's like, forget about that. I just can't take all this kindness in one sitting. Need hatred. And then he crawls away.
He's like in the fetal position and just wiggles himself away. He doesn't even use his arms or legs to move.
Yeah.
Then SpongeBob turns into the volleyball. Volleyball, anyone?
Yep, the last thing he needed to write.
Yep, and serve up, and they start hitting him around, and
he makes himself into a ball, a volleyball.
Yep, and he's
like, ha ha ha, ouch.
Right.
And then they'll hit him on the other side, and ouch, because they're just hitting him right in the face.
They're just smacking him.
Yeah, and then that's the end of the episode.
And that's it. So, yeah, I wanted to mention, too, not that it's that important, but the credits for this episode had a version of the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song that is sung by Junior Brown, and it's in a country style. So, yeah, that does it for episode 18.
So, last episode might have been my favorite 2 episodes put together.
Yeah, no, they were mine 100%.
But this one, very close.
I think this one might take the cake. It's kind of amazing that you would have 4 bangers right in a row like that.
Yeah.
They're all, I mean, they're all good, but these are bangers, dude. And we said iconic,
yeah.
They really are. When it comes to SpongeBob, these are some of the things you think of, Yeah. So I guess I'll just kind of wrap it up then.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I have been Alexander Beardsley. On the internet, I use my stage name, Ashton Waganda, ASHTONWAGANDHA. Kind of a tough one, but you guys got it. Some of you have followed me and stuff.
How do you spell that, Trevor?
ASHTONWAGAHNDA.
Almost. You just got mixed up the H and something, but it's all good. Well, you don't have to spell it. You should have just told Zach no. But anyway, good try though. You were real close. So yeah, that's where you can find me all over the internet. That includes YouTube, Twitch TV, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Find me, talk to me. Let's be friends.
I'm Zach Main, mystified, totally rad _Zach. I just wanted to say, continue following us everywhere. We are getting more notoriety for our YouTube page. I know not a lot of people watch podcasts off of it.
There's maybe 30 views total.
Yeah, it's great. It's flourishing. But we do have that as an option. We do need more reviews. We don't actually need them. We're not out here trying to get sponsors or anything, but we're just trying to make the best show possible for the viewers.
But it works in your favor too, with your shit popping up in searches though too.
Yeah.
So. But
mostly we just want to know how to make it better.
Yeah. So yeah, feedback for sure. Please
go ahead and send us an email at stripesorterproductions@gmail.com. And that's all I've got. Do you guys want any plugs? I know Jake last time just said no. His name's Jake. Period.
Yep, pretty much sticking with that. Nothing to plug, unfortunately.
All right.
That's cool.
My name's Trevor. Go ahead, follow me on Twitter, TXMULREADY, and cash at me money so I can buy Chipotle.
Good. That's a good reason.
I hope they do. You never know, man. There's maybe one of these people in the UK or something.
Roger, I know you're out there.
Roger, do me a solid.
Yeah, follow Trevor. He has a lot of things that he thinks is funny
that really
all
aren't.
the time.
Yeah.
And he loves trolling old people on Facebook, so watch out for it.
Yes, I do that.
Specifically, Downriver and Friends.
Yeah. If you're on that page, you probably already know a lot about Trevor SS. So.
That's great because, I'm not a Downriver boy, but that sounds very funny to me, that page. Like, just the name of it, I know it's funny.
If you've ever taken your profile picture as you from like a downward, like an up-facing angle, and it looks like you're just figuring out how your phone actually works, and you can see your double chin, and you have a creepy like look on your face, chances are Trevor's said something to you.
Yeah. All the admins on that Facebook group, thank you for your service on this Memorial Day.
Yeah,
this is Memorial Day.
Yeah, it was
even
Memorial
though it's
Day
not gonna
today,
come out
but
for a while.
who cares? Yeah. No, I mean, seriously, though, veterans are great. But yeah. And thanks for all they've done, for real. I've got veterans in my family. I'm not saying it's a joke. It's just...
Yeah.
It's just Memorial Day, though, It's another day, really.
I love vets.
In the grand scheme.
Especially when my dogs are sick.
Oh, yeah.
And they make them better.
So, are we going to ask someone a question, Zachariah?
Yeah, I think we should.
Who and what?
We'll ask Trevor, because we've asked Jake before. Do you know the question, Jake? Do you remember?
I can't say that I do.
Okay.
Didn't you say you listen to every episode of our podcast?
I do, but I might cut off.
Apparently
not.
Apparently not the end.
Okay. So, Trevor, what would you do with a drunken sailor? Do you need more context, or can you go off that?
No, it's a song.
Yeah, but I want to know what you would do.
He can add more details to it if you'd like.
Yeah, give me more deets.
Okay. The sailor today will be portrayed by your friend, infamous Tom Dirt.
What a good name that is.
Yeah. He shows up. He's been a sailor for a number of years now. He shows up at your house.
Has it been too long?
Yeah, it's been too long. He had to come over to your house. And he...
sent a jizzy tip dick pic to one of my friends, and he opened it and may or may not have screenshot it and saved it for the rest of eternity.
Right, but then he's drunk as normal, and he's a sailor, and what are you gonna do with him?
It's early in the morning.
It's very early in the morning.
Probably wouldn't answer my door. My apartment building has like a lock before you can get to my door. No,
he's there. He like broke in.
I would probably call the police.
Yeah,
you'd call the police on your friend?
If he's drunk sending jizzy tip pics to people, yeah. It's unacceptable.
Sometimes it really does the world good to see what a bush full of jizz looks like.
Dude. No, that's assault, brother.
Oh, man. Jizzy tip
a bush like a Serbian.
pics is my new favorite combination of words.
Oh.
Jizzy tips.
Well, wait till you hear the story. All right, this part's for the Patreon listeners.
12 seconds later.
And his only response was,
my bad.
He goes, my bad. I was like, that's not a my bad scenario that you've just done. Like,
my bad. Oh, man.
Okay, but that should be the end of the episode. This is where we say, goodbye, everyone. It's been great knowing you.
Yeah.
You could almost say it's been too long.
Yeah. All right, bye, y'all. Thanks to the guests for coming on, and thank you for listening. You rock.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Zach and Alex, for having me back on. Appreciate
of course. Anytime, pal.
Yeah.
And yeah, you too, Trevor.
Thank you.
You guys are great.
You're great.